Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the crazy charts from today because we had the most epic blow the top off parabolic on DPLS, and then it turned into the most epic panic, which I was able to short pretty much the whole way down. Just awesome, man. I mean, it really just incredible, and got a lot of lessons to take away from it. And you know, if I'm walking away with multi-thousand in profit and a lot of lessons, I would say that's an absolute win. So I want to go over this chart so you guys can be more prepared, because these types of plays repeat themselves over and over and over and over. So I want you guys to be ready for that. And yeah, there's that. There was ORPH, which was, I mean, just going insane. We had ONPH, which was also going insane. So got a lot of really good tickers from today to review. And then there's also some charts that I want to have you guys be prepared for tomorrow in case they keep running, because we got some stocks that had some news ready to close. We had some stocks that were closing really strong today. So I want you guys to be ready for all of them. And that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's start with my computer. Please be sure to like this video if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the other side. Alright guys, so I'm here on my laptop, and this is the chart for DPLS, and it pretty much did exactly as I predicted in the video last night, but it was a little stronger on both ends than I expected. So what I said was I expect it to, you know, maybe have a gap up and have a spike right at open, blow the top off, and then fail, come down, and go red on the day. That's what I was expecting. But instead, right at this red level, right at this red-green level, it decided to keep ripping. And honestly, I should have been prepared for this, because this is so incredibly typical of the day, I don't know, day 4, day 5, like the later day moves of these supernova OTC stocks. The amount of times where I've seen this happen is insane. It happened on BPSR. I think it happened on RGBP, just to name a couple of them on those days. And you can go back and pull up those intraday tickers back when they were running a ton, just to see. Because a lot of times, again, they'll gap up, they'll spike right at open, and then they'll go into a little panic, but that bounce will hold, and then it won't go red on the day, and it'll just absolutely run past there, run past the original break, and just keep running. So that's what ended up happening today. I didn't expect it to go further than this, but it did. So I actually re-shorted. I started shorting here, and I ended up covering for a loss here. And then it, you know, it just kept grinding higher, guys. It kept grinding higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. But in this area right here, and again, I called this out live in the voice chat. I said, guys, every single time it makes a higher high, it feels like it's weaker and weaker. And then it literally could not break this area right here. So I went short, and I went short with pretty much the full size that I can take, which again, the 250 rule, guys, if you don't know what that means, you have to pretend that every stock you're shorting is at least $2.50. So on a stock like this, if you have a 25 grand account, you can only short 10,000 shares, which is really annoying, because going long with the same amount, you know, you could short a lot more. 10,000 shares of a stock like this is what, a $900 position? So it's really not that much. Unfortunately, because I would have taken a lot bigger shots, because this is an absolutely great setup. So you can see here, this thing just absolutely starts panicking, guys. Absolutely starts, I mean, literally insane. And, you know, some of these bounces tried to go, but Citadel was on the ask, and they would not let this thing bounce, guys. And it was probably the most insane panic that I have ever seen on a supernova like this, where it goes from up, like, I don't even know what it was, like 30% on the day, to down like a ridiculous amount on the day. I mean, it was down almost 50. I mean, it was down like 40% on the, I mean, it was such an insane swing, guys. And if I zoom out here, you can see how insane this sell-off is. Like, that's the red-green level right there, and it panicked a ton even below that. That is what's so crazy about this chart. So I made a good amount short on this, guys. I made a few thousand shorting this with small size. If it were a 15-cent stock, a 20-cent stock, I would have made probably like 10 grand shorting this instead of what I made. But, you know, it is what it is. Got to be grateful for the opportunities that we have. And I'm very grateful for charts like this, because they are absolutely my bread and butter. Now, the one thing that I'm a little frustrated with myself on for this one is the fact that I really messed this one up, and from the dip buy standpoint. And that's kind of the main thing that I want to take away from this, because the chart was extremely heavy. The tape was very heavy. Citadel was on the ask with their reserve order, hiding size. You know, no matter how many buyers were buying from Citadel, it was not moving up. So they're basically selling infinite shares. You have no idea how many shares they have. And every time it tried to bounce, it died. And I'm really upset because right here, I had a pretty good entry. I forget what. I think I may have had like 250,000 shares from like 5.8 or something. So when it was up here at like 605, I could have sold, and I could have sold for like 500 bucks profit, guys. But unfortunately, I was in some of the chat rooms I was in, some of the great traders who I follow were actually long from that point. Long from 565, that area, and they thought it was going to bounce here and test red-green. And even though the tape felt heavy and my instinct was to take quick profits and run, because they said that, I was a little more greedy, and I ended up selling, trying to cut when it went below my entry. I couldn't, and I literally bottom ticked this thing, guys. I sold all of my shares right at 5.2, so I went from being up 1,000 realized on some dip buys in this account and being up 500 unrealized. All those gains went away, and I ended up selling, and being negative on the day in that main like dip buy account, which was very frustrating for me. So moral of the story is, if I'm listening to good traders, I need to have my intuition align with theirs if I want to be really confident in a trade, because I can't let their confidence override mine when I trust myself more than I trust them, honestly. So if our things align, if our feelings align about a trade, great. But if they're saying one thing and I'm feeling another, I gotta go with my gut. So that's my biggest takeaway from DPLS. And you can see, guys, every single time it kept failing to make a higher high, and it kept breaking down to new lows. Like, it literally could not bounce for the life of it. This thing, it was insane. And I was short for most of this. And I actually thought it was gonna break down under 4 here, because there was like 5 million on the bid, and it got whacked down to like 100K. But then they ended up bouncing it, and it never broke down under there, and it didn't even make it over 5. So pretty lame in terms of a bounce on that one. But that's this chart, guys. Absolutely insane. So much potential profit. Please learn these charts because they repeat themselves over and over and over. The volume was insane. We had over 1 billion in volume today. I mean, you could take some massive size on charts like this. The one thing I gotta say was the executions were pretty trash. That's part of why I lost so much on that one washout right here, because I market sold and like just got absolutely screwed, literally filled at the exact bottom. Like, I was selling from like this candle right here after it started dumping, and man, I couldn't get filled. So that's the main takeaway from this one, guys. Absolutely beautiful chart, and hopefully you guys had some fun with this one too if you watched my video yesterday. ORPH. This is one, guys, that it has some FDA announcement yesterday. And again, this is the one that if you go back a little bit here, this had multiple upside halts and went absolutely insane. Obviously, this chart is pretty wild, guys. I mean, I talked about this ticker already, but because of that, it's a former supernova, and it's one that you got to keep on your radar. Now, today it ran, and then ended up pulling back a little bit. So tomorrow, we got to see what happens, guys, because there might be some FDA decision that could send this stock exploding again. But it's already up from 10 to 16, so it might already be priced in, and it might just sell off on that news. So you got to be ready for anything to happen. It's kind of like a lottery at this point, so be ready to react to whatever it does. But this one will probably be making some serious moves tomorrow, one way or another, whether it's just fading off, whether it's panicking and then bouncing, whether it's spiking ridiculously hard. So this is one that I'm going to be watching. Probably not trading too hard because there's a lot of OTCs that are still moving, and those are my bread and butter, but this is definitely one you guys want to keep on your radar. And the other one with a very similar ticker is ONPH. And if I show you guys this yearly chart, you're going to see a pattern, I hope. So this one is, I mean, it's literally the most scammy pump and dump chart I think I may have ever seen in my life. This thing, it just likes to run up and then just dump and run up and dump. And I mean, if you go here, like, that is such a ridiculous chart. And then it has a huge red day. So like, wow, man, I missed that short. They didn't have shares to short that day, whatever. Well, it runs right back up and then dumps again. 2 red days. Okay, goes down a little bit more, goes down a little bit more, finds a base, starts running up, and then it has another nice red day. Panics from 40 all the way down to 21, and then bounces all the way back up to 30. Well, you keep going. This thing actually wants to go a little higher. Goes a little higher. Can't really make it over 40, barely makes it over 40. and then has another huge panic day. So now we're 4. We have 4 huge panic days. So today was actually the 5th one. So this stock panicked down, found another base around that 20 area, right around that 20 area. It actually had a nice dump here. And then it started working its way back up. And when I see a chart like this, I'm thinking, my God, come on, seriously? Does no one see that this is a pump and dump? I mean, look at that. Volume's like the same all these days. It's just going straight up, all these green, like, come on, man. I know this thing's gonna dump hard. So today, I shorted this thing literally right at open. I shorted this thing right at open, and I got filled like 36 something short. And unfortunately, I didn't have the conviction to take huge size. I wish I would have. In the future, I'm taking big size on this thing, but I only took 100 shares short. But even so, I mean, I was still up a nice amount, man. I was still up like 500 in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the day because of this, which was really nice because it gave me a little bit of cushion, a little bit of padding for DPLS. So when you see a chart that repeats over and over like this one, run up, big dump, run up, big dump, run up, big dump, run up, big dump, run up, big dump. Like, you gotta be ready, guys. Now, what I'm seeing here is it looks like it bounced really hard, and towards the end of the day, you know, it actually really bounced hard. Unfortunately, I didn't long this. I should have longed this down here or down here. I did miss that, but I guess mainly what I'm looking for now is to see if it can get back up towards these 40 levels, and then see if it's gonna have another big dump day. I'd love to short this again. You know, maybe it's similar to here where it dumped, made it higher, and then ended up having a bigger red day here. You know, same type of thing, and then going lower. I would also love to long this thing, you know, from under the 20s, because I think it's very likely to have another run up like this. I mean, it literally is like clockwork. It keeps doing it over and over and over again. So that's what I'm looking for on these, I guess on this particular chart. And, you know, if you guys can recognize patterns, you can really capitalize on them. And it's pretty straightforward, man, as long as you're disciplined with your risk levels. Hold on, it logged me out of my Schwab. Let me log back in real quick there. Also, please don't mind my beanie. I'm repping Wash U, but I went to the gym last night, so I showered when I got home, and I didn't shower this morning because I showered last night at like 11 or whatever, so my hair was kind of crazy when I woke up, so I didn't want to scare anyone. Let's see. All right, so the stocks that you should be watching for tomorrow, HTZGQ officially filed an 8K today where they're talking about basically their plans for Chapter 11, moving forward from Chapter 11 out of bankruptcy. So should be pretty interesting tomorrow. You know, I haven't taken the time to read it. It's like an 80-page document. If you guys want to read it, by all means, go ahead and find that 8K and read it. Let me know in the comments what the hell it's talking about, because I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But you know, hopefully it should be interesting tomorrow, and we should get some movement out of this. You can see the volume was a lot lower today, mainly just a consolidation day. I'm really upset about this. I was like half a second too late on this dip buy here. I wanted to buy this under 8, man. I was trying to buy like 10,000 shares here. I would have made so much money on this dip buy. If I could get it like 796, man, I probably would have sold it right here. But I mean, it would have been at least 1,000, if not more. So a little frustrating there, but oh well. A little bit late, man. A little bit late. But, you know, I'm still watching this one moving forward. I think it could be great. Now, the one that I really am upset about, I almost swung this one, is GGII. And the reason for that is, guys, it's sold off a lot. You know, this is, again, one of those former runners where it goes absolutely supernova and just has some insane days. Some insane days. And actually had some pretty impressive recovery days. You know, this bounced more than a lot of supernovas will after doing that. But the main thing that I want to look at is the fact that, well, actually, I'm not sure if it shows up here on TD Ameritrade. Yeah, I'm not sure if the news shows up here, but I can see the news that came out at 4 p.m. and it says GGII Hempico receives purchase order for 250,000 packs of CBD hemp cigarettes from Ace and Axile, the largest, not Axel, Axile, Ace and Axel, the largest in company history. So basically, they got a really, really big purchase order for these hemp cigarettes, which is their product. And they're trying to disrupt the industry. So I think it's probably going to gap up and probably run on this news, which stinks because if I had an entry, you know, from 1.4, 1.5, it probably would have been better. I would not be surprised to see this thing over 2 tomorrow. If it, you know, breaks this downtrend, I mean, maybe it could see a really nice explosive day up to 4 or something like that. I have no idea. I don't expect too much out of it just because there's been a lot of talks about dilution and stuff like that. But I think it's pretty safe to say that with that PR it's probably going to gap up and see some type of action tomorrow. So I'm going to be looking to play this one near open tomorrow. Definitely going to be looking for that one. RSHN. This is one that it kind of reminds me of DPLS, guys. It's a multi-day runner. You know, nice breakout here. Nice 3 big green candles, man. And I talked about this one in the video last night, but it's honestly still holding up pretty well. If you look here, you know, it's still holding up this uptrend line pretty darn well. And I considered taking a position overnight, but, you know, I don't like taking a position on day 3 when it's like this. So I'm just going to be watching it open. If this thing can break out over 19, you know, spike it open immediately, I think it has a pretty decent chance of continuing to run, having another blow-off day. And, you know, the higher it goes, the better it's going to be from the short side. So same thing as DPLS in that regard. Again, it's only a, you know, I guess a 1 cent stock now. The good thing is it's out of the sub-penny range, so I can trade it better for sure. But I'm not going to have a ton of ability to make money on a stock that is this cheap. Even if it goes full supernova, you know, if it goes up to 4 cents and I short from 4 down to 2, that's still less than shorting DPLS from 9.6 down to 5, you know. So obviously the range is less, but still gonna be interesting, guys. Still gonna be interesting. So we'll see what happens with this one. Definitely high on the radar. And let's see, Midi. Midi had some more news. They filed well, I guess not really news, it wasn't PR, but they filed a Form 4. I think Larry Diamond is still converting his options, still getting more shares, which is a good thing. I think part of that is they are increasing the outstanding shares, which is going to increase, I think, the total overall valuation of the company, which is going to help them uplist eventually. He's not selling these shares yet. He's still buying, obviously, so no need to worry about that. Still good things in future for this company. I'm not selling any. And yeah, I'm still looking forward to this. So I will hold this as long as it takes, definitely for years. Let's see if there's anything else, guys. I think the main watches tomorrow are probably going to be RSHN and GGII. I guess there were a few other ones today. Oh gosh, what was that one? I'm trying to think what it was. There was one. Ooh, we just got news on something, guys. Oh, more CYDY. Yeah, CYDY is putting out some news. That stock is still getting crushed. That's crazy. Yeah, that stock's still getting crushed. I'm not sure. There was one stock, SMPW, that was the stock. Yeah, I'm upset about this one, guys. I'm very upset about this one. So this was one that I decided to swing right here at 2.8. And I ended up selling it all at like 3.1. And today had an explosive day. Closed at high a day. This is one, I mean, golly, so much volume. I didn't expect this. Huge gap up, like very frustrating. You know, I had 100K shares from 2.8, maybe a little bit more. Maybe it was like 200K. I think I may have had 200K shares from 2.8. I mean, it just stinks, guys. I sold this way too early. But these are the types of charts that I like to swing because they're former runners and they got some really nice basing actions. Again, you can see here, this thing ran a ridiculous amount, went full supernova back in January, and then, you know, came down, but found a really nice base. So like you can see in this area, like it's really not moving too much from here. So all it needs is a little perk of volume and this thing's gonna go crazy. So I'm a little upset at myself that I sold this so early. But you know, lesson learned for the future. Got to be more patient on those types of plays. So that is another one that I'm definitely watching heavily. SIRC. This was one that was a good short today. Unfortunately, I shorted here and then had to cover here because I needed my buying power. Ended up panicking more towards the end of the day. But you know, these more expensive OTCs you can make a lot more money on because they're normally just as sketchy of companies. I don't want to draw a line there. I want to zoom in. They're normally just as sketchy of a company, but they're a lot higher price per share. So again, you know, if DPLS were a $1 a share company, I could take a $30,000 short position. Well, actually, no. I mean, I could take more than that. No, I think what? Yeah, I could take. I think still the limit is going to be 30-something thousand shares. So I could take a $34,000 short position versus, you know, if you got a stock that's 7 cents, you can't really take a big short position on it because it's like what, a $4,000 short position. So that's kind of the main thing, guys. So I like a lot of these sketchy OTC stocks that run up. ONPH feels very similar to that. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I don't know that there's too much else. If I forgot something, feel free to throw it down there below. I actually did forget something. Oh my gosh. All right, 2 stocks real quick, guys. AITX This one ran on a tweet by the CEO. Absolutely insane. Unfortunately, I shorted a little bit early. I shorted at 7 right here. Didn't cover here, luckily. Ended up covering like 697 for very small profits. Should have been more patient. Missed the dip buy, and yeah, pretty lame. ALYI, though, this is one that I'm more upset about. This one right here, I called out the news. You can see right where that volume starts coming in. I called out the news in the Discord. I bought in, I think here. No, I missed the entry. So I was trying to get it at 35. I didn't get filled any, and I didn't want to chase at 36. And then it ends up running from 36 all the way up to 6. So insanely strong move here. I mean, if you look at this chart, the history of this chart, that's a really big green candle. So we'll see if it can break out over this level here at 7. But more likely than not, this thing probably just dies. Honestly, probably just dies. But again, this is the type of chart that I like to long. It did break down below that key support level, which is a little frustrating. You know, that 3.5 support level, but man, you know, once it fades off, it can only fade so much before it, you know, pops off on some type of volume day. So should be interesting, should be a nice short. May continue tomorrow, may just die off, in which case I'll just be shorting it as it goes back under 4. But yeah, that is it for sure, guys. If there's any other listed stocks that I missed, definitely throw them down in the comments for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.